our return back to the Philippines. Let's get into this. So we had plans to return. Back in May, we bought tickets. We booked them online through Delta via Korea Airlines to return back to the Philippines to continue our house construction, be there for my son, be there for the family, the kids, all these things going on. We bought these tickets. They're supposed to be guaranteed through Delta. If you bought them by May 30th, there's a guaranteed refund if there was a cancellation. It canceled. Korean Airlines canceled their part of the deal, which is a pretty major part of the deal. Representative Delta, I said, they've canceled it. And she said, well, we don't see it on our side, but we're the last to know. I'm like, what? I bought it through y'all, and y'all are partners with Korean Airlines. So Korean Airlines, they verified that yes, it is canceled. You need to get with Delta and get your refund. So I talked to a lady at Delta, and she says, well, you may not get a refund. Well, that is not what it said. She just kind of laughed, and she said, well, they're going to try to give you a voucher. And I said, I don't need a voucher because we won't be able to travel. We'll be in the Philippines. Once we get in there, we're not going to be going out till we come back home. And this voucher was going to go from the date that you was going to expire after 1 year from the date that you originally booked your ticket. Well, that would mean that right when we return back to the U.S. from the Philippines, we would have to get on another flight and fly somewhere else to use our money with Delta. That's not how I booked it. A lot of BS and a lot of phone calls. Then it progressed on that I would call, and when I would get an agent on the phone and I would tell them what I need, and as soon as I said I need to get a refund, they would just hang up. Just hang up. No nothing. Just you say, as soon as you say those words, boop, gone. I'm like, really? It's come down to that? Now, the people at the Philippine embassies, some very nice ladies warned me that Delta was being very nasty and that I need to be careful. Well, I'm okay. Call my credit card company. I am very loyal with them. That card company is the same company that I bank with, and I take care of my business very well with them too. Preferred client, we'll just say. And they said, oh, we'll take care of that. We're going to reverse the charges back and just put the money back in your account. So our flight going back now is booked on Philippine Airlines. Philippine Airlines from LAX to Manila. And I think it's going to be a very great deal. I like it. Philippine Airlines is in direct works with the government. They know exactly what the best way is to handle all of it. And it's a pretty dedicated route because there is a massive amount of Filipinos that live in California and are flying back and forth. And then others pour in from across the U.S. too and take that LAX to Manila or Cebu route. But we chose Manila because our particular province in Iloilo, they're not much wanting people come in from Cebu, and a bunch of other provinces aren't either. Well, I have never got a visa since Melinda and I have been married. I used to be a visa holder, but it expired. I used to have my, what's that called? ACR card. I still have it. It's expired. But when I was married with Melinda, I flew in on ballot buying. I mean, you show up with your wife, you enter in for 1 year visa free. So that's all I needed. Didn't worry about it. Keep down the complications, right? So now, to get back in, you can return under these special circumstances. But you can't go in as a tourist with no roots to that country dealing with family. There is like a 3-month, a 6-month, and a year on the application, and the price accordingly. I believe it's like $30, $60, and maybe like $120 or something like that. You can only during this time apply for the shortest one. You got to get in there after that and do your extension in the country. And how do I know this? Because I talked to a very nice lady at the Houston Philippine Consulate Embassy down there. And so for you that don't know, they're reopened. They reopened on September 8th. They're not doing walk-ins, and they're still trying to not have people coming inside. Some people think that whatever happens with one foreigner that they watch that's vlogging, that's going to be the exact same situation for every foreigner that's out here that's sharing this information and vlogging. When they set this up in the beginning, they created what they called LGUs, and these definitions that they came up with, local government unit, that they gave each local government unit the power and the rules to make what they felt best fit the needs in their community. What you might see one vlogger go through, it might be totally different than what the next goes through according to where they live, and it can be right down to their municipality, their province, their city. So you can't just blanket cover. What covers for one covers for all. I'll have some of you, and they'll write and say, you need to watch so-and-so's video because he did it like this, and that means you're a dummy and you don't know what you're doing, and he did. No, he did what he had to do for his area, for his LGU, not just dealing on the scale of the airplane, but dealing of getting there, but then what you're going to do once you get there. So our LGU is a little different. So our municipality has a form, and we have to fill this form out once we're in the Philippines, once we get our test done and we come back negative. Then we will book our flight to go back down to our province, our island. You look at it right now, and it's just going to ask the basics: your name, your address, when you're arriving, when you're arriving in Manila, when you're going to arrive, expected date in the province, all these things. Just they're going to get the data, and then they're going to coordinate with you to pick you up at the airport, and they're going to bring us out to our municipality and out in our province town. In there, we're going to go through like a orientation, and they're going to decide where we're going to go. And so it's going to be according to your needs, your situation, your lifestyle. And what I mean by that is, let's say that some people may choose that they want to stay in a quarantine hotel even out in our area, if there's any available, because we're not in a big city, we're in a small province. So then, can you afford that? Can you pay for that? And let's get it set up. And then you're going to go there and you're going to follow those rules. Well, maybe somebody don't have the funding for that, because maybe it's just a Filipino overseas worker or a locally stranded individual, meaning that they were away from their home in another part of the Philippines when they got locked down, in the Philippines when they got locked down. So that is a locally stranded individual. Well, if you don't have funds pay for a hotel quarantine, that means you're going to have to go to a government quarantine, and that's going to be, in our instance, I believe, at elementary school. And your family's going to have to bring you whatever you need: bedding, fan, food, whatever your personal needs are. Your family, or your friends, whoever it may be that care about you there, will have to get with the local barangay, the barangay captain, bring the stuff that you're going to need to stay in quarantine for 14 days in a government area. Then there's a third option. And the third option is if you have your own place and you have your own food and you have your own restroom, that's very important, your own CR, your own bathroom, and it's not shared with other people, well, then you can home quarantine. So for us, we have that apartment we've made there on our house building site there in that subdivision. We've got a large fenced in yard with a tall steel fence. It's only Melinda and I there. We have our own private restroom there, and we have our own kitchen and stuff there. And of course, we can get family in advance to bring us stocks of food and all there and drop it off. If they approve us to be there at home, they may or may not post what they call a Tanoid, which is like kind of like a security guard. It's like a low level police that's not really like a cop, you know, not a like trained carrying a gun cop. Just kind of like not really even a deputy, just kind of like a security guard for the Bron guy. It's a community person there. And they may post them to make sure that other people aren't coming there to you and you're not going out and breaking the rules. They may not, or they may just do a random check. And I tell you what, in our community, anything you do, the word's going to spread fast anyway. So that's our situation. At the moment, as things are, we'll most likely be doing a 14-day at home. And that's okay with me, because in 14 days, I got a lot of stuff I can be doing there. So that's the situation on that. I wanted to share what our journey is going to be. You might have a different situation. Your loved one may have a different situation. But this is what our situation is. And I believe this is kind of getting adopted throughout many municipalities throughout the Philippines. They're trying to standardize a few things. And of course, they have what they call these bubble quarantines, that there's more cases, they're going to get more strict in certain areas. Iloilo City is going through that right now. And remember that. We live in Iloilo province in a small town. We don't live in Iloilo City. They have their own rules. So if I say Iloilo, that doesn't mean I'm in the city. They have their own rules. We're in the province of Iloilo. You have Cebu City, then you have the province of Cebu. But just remember, I'm just another person out there trying to return home like everyone else. I'm not a pro. I don't work for the government. I do my due diligence. I always get what I go after, and I abide by the rules. I suggest you do the same thing. Stay calm, cool, stay happy, stay blessed, and just remember, take care and enjoy life.